um, the two kids that are pretty much instigating this whole thing get the rich model kid to pay Heath Ledger's character to go out with this girl.
Mhm.
And the two kids reveal themselves to Heath Ledger's character. They're like, listen, we're behind this whole thing. We're just trying to trick him into going out with Kat so that way this kid can go out with Bianca. Well, it ends up backfiring on him a little bit because Bianca wants to go out with what did I say? It was Joey Donner, who was that model dude. He ends up blowing her off. She realizes how much of a douche he is, and does end up going with Joseph Gordon-Levitt's character, Cameron. So it's a whole bunch of like crisscross and
right.
And in the process, like all movies, Heath Ledger's character falls in love with Kat, and then she finds out that he was being paid, and I didn't think that they were gonna get back together because it was running so close to the end.
And just the way her temperament was too. It's
yes.
like she's not gonna put up with that crap.
Right.
I'm like, I don't blame
so
her. I'd be ticked off too.
But I mean, it just takes you through this storyline, and you see all the characters kind of develop, and it's a super good movie. It's really I like it a lot. I would watch it again. And which kind of brings us into, because this is another movie that I like, because I grew up with almost all sisters. I have one brother who I barely claim. But that brings us to our next movie. And there was a little bit of mishap. We were going to do How to Lose a Guy in 10 Days, but like I said, Netflix just randomly kind of took it off Netflix, and I'm like, you got to be kidding me. And so I'm like rushing to find another movie to watch. And so my girlfriend and I do the whole Netflix, like, movies like this. And we found 13 going on 30. So we chose that. And for those of you that don't know, 13, or well, actually, why don't we finish our talk about 10 things I hate about you. So that's pretty much the synopsis of what happens. And one thing that got me is like when Heath Ledger's character and Kat go on like a date, and they're like in a paddle boat.
Yeah.
And they look over and he's like, "Are you ready?" And I thought they were gonna go into like a paintball fight. No, it was a paint balloon fight.
Yeah.
Like they had balloons full of paint, and they threw them at each other. And I'm like, I don't think that's nearly as much fun. I feel like shooting people with paintballs is more fun. It hurts a lot more too. Anyway, so what do you think?
I thought, I know it kind of hailed back, and this was years ago, but the scene where he tries to where they try to get back together with the marching band scene.
Yes.
I considered doing that to ask someone out to prom, but I didn't have enough friends in the marching band at the time to do that.
So for those of you that don't know, it was like one of the ultimate get back together scenes. Heath Ledger, actually, he's trying to get with her. It wasn't even get back.
Yeah.
He's trying to get with Kat Stratford, and so he gets on he pretty much somehow gains control of the I'm trying to remember what's that box called that they've got all the microphones in.
The press box.
The press box. Yeah. He gets a hold of the press box and microphone, and he starts singing that was I Can't Take My Eyes Off of You. And then the marching band kicks in, and it's just fantastic.
Dude, that's my thing is I can't sing, so I'm like, nah, that's a terrible idea. Can't do that. But hey, the just the kind of the big wow thing. And I mean, it was
I Love You Baby is what it was.
I know. I was never really much of a Romeo or romantic in high school, but I do kind of miss some of the stuff like and you're asking. If you weren't in a relationship, and you wanted to take take a girl to, it's like Sadie's homecoming or obviously prom, you kind of had to do, you always want to do like that big kind of explosive, way to kind of get them to notice you and go, oh yeah, let's do that. I almost kind of miss, plotting for stuff like that sometimes because.
Well, yeah, you can't. I mean, you can do that in real life, but that's a lot bigger things.
If I had a marching band walk through my apartment, I think my girlfriend would punch my lights out and say that I gave her a headache. So I can't do that anymore.
So here's a little clip of the scene that we're talking about, and I hope you can hear it.
It's too good to be true. Can't take my eyes off of you. You'd be like heaven to touch. I wanna hold you so much. At long last love has arrived. and I thank God I'm alive. You're just too good to be true. Can't take my eyes off of you.
Yeah, so like this whole scene is really funny because he's dancing on these like cement bleachers, and she's out in gym class just kind of doing whatever, and he gets her attention, and he like slides down this bar, and he starts dancing. And at the end, when they start applauding, it's because like the rent-a-cops or the police or whatever they are, they start like trying to chase him, and so he's dancing away from him, like he's running back and forth. It was just like it's a great movie. There's so many elements that just scream 90s to me.
Oh yeah, like I said, it reminds me so much of like, you know, what you call like cliche 90s movies like The Breakfast Club, you know, and that's, I guess, you know, in my opinion, it's not like a copy of, but, you know, it's just kind of have like some of the same elements, you know, like the high school kid, you know, just kind of portraying teenage life and stuff. And I know, you know, we grew up in a different generation than that exactly happened, but, you know, we're still 90s kids, you know?
Right. Well, I mean, I was born in 93, so I got most of the 90s.
Right.
And then 2000, but like one of the characters, her name was Miss Perky, and she was the guidance counselor, and she was writing an erotic novel. And so, I mean, there were so many that like April rewatched it last night, and she's like, I shouldn't have watched this as a kid. She's like, I was less than 10 and I was watching this. Yep. She's like, I watched it a lot.
I know the scene where they talk about her wearing the black panties.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, I make jokes about that to this day, and people are like, what are you talking about? I'm like, never mind. You didn't see the movie clearly, so forget it.
I also love the teacher. The teacher that they had. There was like one teacher they showed in this entire movie. Oh. And they were always in the same class, and it was this African American teacher, and he would just like automatically, I don't know, he was almost like he was a student,
mm-hmm.
and it made me laugh so hard. I don't know why he had so much of an attitude.
I'm trying to find the actor for it.
Yeah, he was like at one point, because Kat always was giving him like crap about like, oh, you know, why don't we like do a girl like something about women for an assignment.
Mm-hmm.
And he asked them to write their own sonnets.
Right.
And she's raised her hand, and he's like, okay, go ahead with your spiel. And she's like, no, I actually like this. She's like, do you want us to do like this or this, like add this too? And he just assumes that she's trying to make fun of him and sends her out, and she seriously likes the project.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's really funny because he's like, just get out of the classroom. But he's so funny. And actually, I lied. They show two teachers. The other teacher that they show, and this is when it kind of reminded me of The Breakfast Club, is that guy right after he sings that song,
mm-hmm.
he gets put in detention.
Oh yeah, that's
and
right.
It was
gets busted out.
Yeah, it was the soccer coach, and so she walked in, and the guy, the teacher who ran this, reminded me of the one from like The Breakfast Club.
Yep.
And so I'm like, oh, this is gonna turn into Breakfast Club. It's gonna be fantastic. And she walks in, and turns out he's like the soccer coach.
Yeah.
And so she's trying to like get the kid out the window. And so she's trying to distract him, and he's like, what new moves is that? And she literally like, these, and she lifts up her shirt, and it just like flashes the teacher. I lost it. I died. It was so funny. I'm like, this is not a movie for kids. But then you go on and watch American Pie, and I'm like, I watched American Pie when I was younger.
Yeah,
Granted, it was with a few friends of mine, but I mean, still, like, and I go back and I watch it, I'm like, this is a dirty movie.
And I saw this when I was a kid. Okay, great.
It was just...
Hey, everything wasn't so politically correct back then, so it was completely fine.
It was fantastic. That's what it was. But I love the teacher that they had on this. Like, he raps William Shakespeare, which was really funny. Let's see if I can find a clip of that. Oh, they've got a... I hate when people put, like, title intros on YouTube videos. Here it is.
Right? Got me, lady. You sway to the rhythm of me eyes. Dance for me, cowgirl.
Cat, babe, what do we owe you for the table dance?
This was after she got drunk at a party and started drinking.
Damn, but how was everybody's weekend?
Oh, I don't know. Maybe we should ask Cat.
Unless you kick the crap out of your dumb butt, I don't want to hear about it. Okay, let's open up our books to page 73, sonnet 141, and listen up. In faith I do not love thee with mine eyes, for there in thee 1,000 errors note. But 'tis my heart that loves what they despise, who in despite of you is pleased to dote. Now, I know Shakespeare's a dead white guy, but he knows his shit, so we can overlook that. I want you all to write your own version of this sonnet. Oh. Yes, miss, I have an opinion about everything.
Do you want this in iambic pentameter?
You're not gonna fight me on this?
No, I think it's a really good assignment.
You just messing with me, aren't you?
No, I'm really looking forward to writing it.
Get out of my class.
What?
Out, get out!
Thanks, Mr. Morgan.
Shut up.
I love that teacher. He's just like, shut up. And the other thing is, like, there's so many, like, they drop like little F-bombs here and there.
Mm-hmm.
And then you're like, what in the world? I don't even know. Mr. Morgan was the character. But he was just like, he was so funny and down to earth. He's played by Daryl Mitchell.
Yeah, I was gonna say, it says here he was actually paralyzed from the waist down in 2001. I guess
Really?
It was a motorcycle accident in South Carolina.
Man, he played in a lot of movies too. He played in Inside Man, which is one of my favorites.
Mm-hmm.
That was where a guy literally got like, he went to rob a bank, and he locked himself pretty much inside the bank. And then once everything kind of cooled down, he literally just walked away with the money. I don't know how he did it, but he did. And then you got like Galaxy Quest, which was pretty funny. That had Tim Allen and who's the guy that played Professor Snape in Harry
Alan
Potter?
Rickman.
It had Alan Rickman in it, Tim Allen, Sigourney Weaver, and Daryl Mitchell in it, and that was a really good movie. It used to be on Netflix. I don't know if it's on Netflix anymore, but it used to be on Netflix. But he's played in a lot of really good movies. Let's say he plays in NCIS New Orleans. He played in one episode of Wizards of Waverly Place, Sweet Life of Zack and Cody, Country Bears. He played in Galaxy Quest and Things I Hate About You. What else did he play in? Law and Order, House Party 2.
He was even in, Fresh Prince of Bel-Air too.
Yep, The Cosby Show.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, so he was in a lot of really good stuff. And I know his face. I feel like he was in something else that I'm missing, but I don't know what it is. Anyway, but this teacher was just like, he was so down to earth, and it was so funny that. But like I said, this was one of those movies that, you know, you're watching it and you're like, man, I watched this when I was a kid. I mean, this came out in 1999, and you know, so it's like I was born in 93, so that meant I was what, about six or seven. So, I think I don't remember watching it when I was a kid. I watched it. I think I watched a little bit of it, but I didn't. This was the first time seeing it.
I think I'd seen it when I was maybe like 15 or 16. I think for the first time.
I probably saw it before. I don't think I ever saw the whole thing. But I did watch. I was watching one of those top 10 videos,
Mhm.
and the whole thing with Heath Ledger was on it, and I'm like,
Yep.
what are they talking about? Now I know.